Hello and welcome to the Elimination Chamber review, also coupled with the TNA lockdown review. Due to time constraints, I wasn't able to do the Elimination Chamber review when I said I would, so I've decided to tie them both in together. Now, Elimination Chamber, the key matches were Alberto Del Rio versus The Big Show for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Elimination Chamber itself, featuring Jack Swagger, Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan, Kane, Mark Henry and Randy Orton. And the WWE Championship match featuring The Rock and CM Punk. Now we had the World Heavyweight Championship starting the show. Now that's kind of a double-edged sword for the World Heavyweight Championship. If you're starting with something big, being the World Heavyweight Championship, but with it being the World Heavyweight Championship, shouldn't it be a little later on in the card, considering what the next match was? And also a couple of matches thrown in later in the show. But Alberto Del Rio and Big Show had a pretty decent match. Not something I can complain about, really. It was a lot better than the Royal Rumble match they had, where Del Rio won by, well, as we went over last time, taping Big Show to the bottom rope. This time Del Rio won by submission. I don't buy it. After 10 minutes, the Big Show should easily still be able to get out of that submission hold, or at least reach the ropes, which he got pretty close to doing. The guy Big Show size should easily be able to reverse the cross arm breaker. I'm just saying that. Right, second match on the card. I have a slight problem with the finish of this, but I will get into that afterwards. Antonio Cesaro versus The Miz. A match where Miz actually impressed me. And Cesaro, we already know, is a solid wrestler. Unfortunately, I have to admit that. I will make it clear I'm not too keen on guys like Cesaro, Ambrose, Rollins, Reigns, and CM Punk. I'm not into those kind of guys. But Miz impressed me by selling the shoulder injury, which he was pretty consistent at doing. And at one point I actually thought The Miz was going to win. I know, idiot. Well, Cesaro won by disqualification after, and now here's my problem. Miz did not hit Cesaro below the belt. Miz hit Cesaro's thigh. Although it did lead to one funny moment where Miz just straight up kicked Cesaro right in the fucking nuts. I enjoyed that. I'm a guy and I enjoyed watching another guy get kicked in the balls. And I did not scream. And then we reached the 1 hour mark of the show. So your 1 hour main event of Elimination Chamber. Sorry, no, we reached the half an hour point of the show, with the Elimination Chamber match being third on the card. Okay, I guess you need something solid to hold that up, but why couldn't the World Heavyweight Championship have this spot and have the Chamber a little later? I mean, you got Divas title match in semi-main. The Divas title match which generally is, and no offense to women, I'm cool with women wrestlers, I don't mind them, but I like women that can wrestle. I know, I'm not into the model types. But generally a Divas match is normally used to go get snacks, get a drink, go to the toilet, or generally just read something. But the Elimination Chamber match was easily match of the night. You had Daniel Bryan and Jericho start off. Yes, I was vomiting rainbows. And then the third man in, Mark Henry. Wait, no, sorry. No, third man in was Jack Swagger. My notes are a little muddled. So it was still a pretty solid match. 3 guys in the ring that can wrestle. 2 of them that I like, and Daniel Bryan. Then 4th man in, Kane, in which we saw Daniel Bryan and Kane, who are the current tag team champions, pick apart everybody else until the point of it happens with every team that teams up in this sort of match. They end up fighting each other. Orton comes in and gets the pattern. Yeah, the fresh guy comes in, dominates for a little while. Then halfway through the countdown, everything catches up. The last man in, Mark Henry, came in and straight out dominated, and also beat both of the tag team champions on his own. That is, well, if you're the rest of the roster, that's pretty scary. I will say that. Next elimination was Mark Henry, after taking a big boot from Swagger, a code breaker from Jericho, and an RKO from Orton. Then the match kind of settled down a bit between Jericho, Orton and Swagger. No one having any real advantage until a little later when Orton eliminated Jericho. And then straight off of that, Swagger taking advantage, rolls Orton up for 3 and a World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania. Now I'm going to note something here. I like this new Jack Swagger. And I like Zeb Coulter. I like the gimmick. I think it blends in well with Swagger's all-American like tagline. And it kind of sets up an interesting feud. Something that hasn't been touched on since, or maybe 2004, when Eddie Guerrero was the WWE champion. And you had JBL as the #1 contender, which is an interesting point. Also, it's something new. A lot of people complain about seeing the same old shit. I am one of them that complains about the same old shit. We are getting something new. We have not seen Jack Swagger versus Alberto Del Rio, to my knowledge. If we have, then it's just been a one-off match. We have not seen a full program of it. Do not bitch about wanting something new and then bitch about getting it. Okay, we have something new. Personally, I would have preferred Ziggler to cash in and Jericho win the chamber. That didn't happen. So we've got something new. Also, Swagger tried to throw away his title shot by getting arrested for driving under the influence and getting caught with in possession of marijuana. Well, you've already got the ankle lock, you might as well become Kurt Angle. And then we're on to the fourth match of the night. Something that kind of surprised me. I thought the Shield was going to get buried. Again, I was wrong. Twice in one show. Oh, don't worry, when we go into lockdown, I'm going to love it. The Shield picked up a win after... Actually, the match only lasted about 15 minutes. Although, considering John Cena was in for most of the match and getting his ass kicked, having his normal match of arrive, get beat up, come back. He made the comeback didn't pay off. The Shield won this match, 15 minutes long, roughly. Felt twice that. Oh well. The Shield pick up the win over Ryback. Why not Sheamus? I mean, okay, I get why you didn't have Cena get pinned because he's the Royal Rumble winner. So you can't have him lose momentum heading into facing The Rock. But why are we picking on Ryback? Why couldn't Sheamus do the job? I mean, the next night on Raw, you had Jericho do the damn job. Jericho's a much bigger talent than Sheamus and Ryback and John Cena. Now you got to keep the kids happy though, ain't you? Hey Vince, got to keep those little cash cows coming in. Then we get an impromptu match. Well, somewhat impromptu. It was announced earlier in the night. Dolph Ziggler beat Kofi Kingston in a match we've seen 1,000 times, which only lasted about 4 minutes. So the only guy Dolph Ziggler can win against is a Kofi Kingston. Beat Cena by Screwjob. What else has Ziggler done? I mean, I read the spoilers for SmackDown last week. I haven't watched the show yet. And I think Ziggler lost then too. I think we need to go over this. Ziggler is your Money in the Bank holder. He gets a World Heavyweight title shot anytime he likes. You should be shoving a rocket ship up his arse and sending him to the fucking moon. Just a note. Then you get your bathroom break match for the Divas title. Caitlyn beat Tamina Snuka. Enough about that. And then on to the main event. The Rock versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship. And if The Rock gets disqualified or counted out, he loses the belt. So well and good having that stipulation. But on my count, you only flirted with the disqualification once. And that was at the point of having CM Punk spit in The Rock's face. You flirted with the count out by having CM Punk put The Rock through the announcers table. But this match was generally punch, kick, stomp, maybe a suplex, punch, kick, stomp, 10-minute submission hold, punch, kick, stomp, ref bump, punch, kick, stomp, GTS, punch, kick, stomp, people's elbow. Slightly dodgy movements, rock bottom. Or with a bit of referee messing about in the background. He did that for 20 minutes. I mean, I was really high on this pay-per-view, even after the John Cena match. I was saying this is a good show. Even after you had Dolph Ziggler go out for 4 minutes, this is a good show. Even after we got to see Caitlyn, this is a good show. Your main event, what the fuck is this shit? Who you really fucking phoned this one in? This is a main event that you phoned in. Why? I don't know. Maybe you're trying to keep The Rock healthy for WrestleMania, because that's your big show. Okay, I get that. I get that. I get trying to keep a guy healthy for your big show, but you do not have to phone in a pay-per-view main event. Worst he can pick up against CM Punk is maybe a concussion from the kicks to the damn head. Yeah, you won't let Randy Orton do the pump, but you let Zack Ryder do his stupid boot in the corner, and you let CM Punk and Daniel Bryan do their kicks to the back of the fucking head. And Del Rio. So plenty of kicks to the head, but you can't see a Randy Orton punt. Why? I loved the punt. The punt was a threatening move. Kick to the back of the head, maybe half and half. Anyway, that is the Elimination Chamber segment of this. Oh, Nanette, 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 Nanette. Hey, Nanette. And then now we go to Lockdown. The first half an hour of this show I had a lot of fun with. Starting with the opening match for the X Division Championship. It actually was a good match. Despite the number of botches, it was a good match. I mean, it wasn't like watching Sin Cara. Sin Cara botch-tastic, yes. A good match, no. This X Division title match, botch-tastic, yes. Good match, yes. Great match. Loved it. Although Kenny King retained, I loved it. Although I think it is best that you didn't have the former X Division champion Rob Van Dam in this match, because as we all know, RVD doesn't do a job on pay-per-view. I can't even remember the last time RVD lost on pay-per-view. It's obviously going to be pre-TNA. So then we get the second match of the night. But after a segment I quite enjoyed, we get a Joseph Parks interview about how all the guys in the back are giving him little ribs, mainly sending him off as a joke to themselves. Then he gets interrupted by Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. Because the line he did at 20 past midnight last night was the sight of a talking penis in a leather jacket with a couple of medals on it. Well, I say talking penis, I didn't have sound in it. Kind of looked like he was shouting. So at 20 past midnight, he had the image of a shouting penis in a leather jacket with medals on it. So on to the second match, which featured Joseph Parks / Abyss versus Joey Ryan. Yeah, my verdict on Joey Ryan is it's a miss on the 70s porn star or sex offender. I think I may want to go with the previous, although given a couple of the early pin attempts, I think the latter may be more appropriate. Joseph Park gets the win in a slightly sloppy match. And again, I highlighted this last time, and it is really weird to see Joseph Park, a guy who we know can wrestle, a guy who we know can actually have a solid match. It is weird seeing him have a match that can be described as sloppy. It's also even weirder seeing him wrestle like someone who's learning to wrestle. But Park missed a splash. Ryan went for a sunset flip. And Park just sat on it. Park took the Rikishi route of sit on your opponent. The third match of the night, more comedy. This time not from the wrestlers. We have Velvet Sky defending the Knockouts title. Velvet looking okay. I'll admit Velvet's an attractive lady. She doesn't float my boat though. Except for last night when she looked particularly well, just say she looked good. Versus Gail Kim. And since TNA have introduced a female referee for these Knockouts matches, due to the whole Madison Rain Earl Hebner storyline, it was really funny. This actually was a good match. Really funny seeing the referee get physically involved in the match, but still it was a good match for Velvet. Another rare occurrence. So, decent match. A couple of the highlights were Velvet doing a senton off the ring apron, taking Gail Kim down on the outside, and then the finish where Gail thought that she got a 3 count and decided to put her hands on the official in frustration, even to a point of slapping her, which led to a physical response from the referee of a spear, and then a short cat fight until Velvet recovered from the defeat to it. I don't even know what it's called. It's a sit-out face buster, which is quite a hello. See you later, Jodie. Fourth match on the card was Robbie T versus Robbie E in a somewhat slow and average match. And then we got Well, Robbie T picked up the win from a, well, it looked like a modified Spinebuster. No complaints. Then the fifth match, which I'm going to, was a short segment of with Austin Aries saying that he could win even without his tag team partner, Robert Roode. Robert Roode, who 2 weeks ago his TNA contract ran out. They put the belt on him and forgot to renew his contract. And we welcome you to Incompetence 101. You put the belt on again, don't renew his contract. Yeah, that's not really something that you can. Yeah, but Robert Roode walked in at the end of the segment with like with the look of, you all know where I've been. You all know, hey, I just signed a new contract. And then we get the World Tag Team Title Triple Threat featuring Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez, your reigning and defending champions Austin Aries and Bobby Roode, and the team of Bad Influence, which is Kazarian and the Walking Penis. Or after tonight, the Walking Shouting Penis. Yeah. Every TNA review, you're going to have to deal with this if Christopher Daniels is on the show. You're going to have to deal with penis references. Enjoy. Now this was definitely match of the night. I cannot say any two things about this. This was match of the night. Good work and good chemistry from all three teams involved. Even though Chavo has only been there about 6 or 7 months. So he's only been working with these guys for 6 or 7 months. And already good chemistry, that is the sign of good solid workers. As much as I like to make fun of Christopher Daniels' appearance, I will admit he's a solid performer. And since Kazarian started teaming with him, now this is Kazarian who a couple of years ago could not piece together a match for longer than 5 minutes. If you were lucky. After a couple of minutes, Kazarian would look lost. Since he started teaming with Christopher Daniels, he's seemed to improve a lot. Well, improved to a point where I can call him a good worker. Not an excellent worker, but a good worker. Aries and Roode get the win. Oh, come on, Roode, just signed a new contract. You think we're going to take the belt off him? Robert Roode, not Jeff Hardy. I just gave away the main event. And then we get our 3 Aces and 8s matches. Again, giving away more to the main event. The first one was Wes Briscoe versus Kurt Angle in a steel cage. Yeah, to a small point here, this is Lockdown. Now, I've only watched 3 Lockdowns. 2010, 2011 and 2012. Okay, in all 3 of those, every match has been inside the steel cage. Tonight, of the 8 matches, the first 5 were not. In fact, come the point of the end of the tag team title match, I was happy that the first 5 were not in the steel cage because it gave me the opportunity while they were putting the cage together. Yes, putting the cage together. Well, it's something different, I'll give them that. Plus it gives you a chance to go to the toilet, get some snacks, get a drink. In my case, have a smoke, and have a reflective think on the first, well, must say first 2/3 of the show. It gave me a chance to do that while I was still in the back door at 2 AM, freezing my nutsack off. So we have Wes Briscoe versus Kurt Angle. I don't think that this should have been in a steel cage so soon. But like I've just said, I'm happy that the first 5 matches were not in the cage. And you have to put this match somewhere higher up on the card because it's Kurt Angle. And Kurt Angle is trying to save wrestling. I'm with you on that, Kurt. I am with you on saving wrestling in the Olympics. I am solidly with you on that one. That it is the oldest sport to man. It was part of the first Olympics. It should still be a part of every Olympics from now until the end of time, looks like. Wrestling is an Olympic sport. This is professional wrestling, but the wrestling will get at the Olympics. I don't mind watching. And plus, I have a lot of respect for Kurt Angle. Because he is the only Olympic gold medalist in professional wrestling. And for anyone that watches sports or for any sportsman watching that cries over a simple little injury or rolls around and acts like it's a lot worse than what it is, Kurt Angle won a gold medal at the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta with a broken freaking neck. Grow some balls. So, this match was, given that I haven't seen much of Wes Briscoe's career until he came into a company that's on TV, I was impressed by this. Wes actually held his own in there with a Kurt Angle. Okay, Kurt helped carry the match. Well, Kurt did carry the match. A pretty awesome German suplex off the top rope in the middle of the top rope. They weren't doing any of that Ponzi would do it from the corner stuff. They did it from pretty much dead center on the ropes. That impressed me. There's another point in the next match that impressed me about one of these young kids, but I'll get into that later. Wes won by well, technically Kurt won because Kurt was the one to walk out the cage, but the referee's back was turned. Well, the referee was recovering. Didn't see it, and we've got D'Lo Brown, the newest member of Aces and Eights. At this point, I've pretty much given away some of the stuff that happens in the main event. So I'm just saying D'Lo Brown is at this point of the show the newest member of Aces and Eights and the VP. Chucks Kurt into the cage door a couple of times and throws him back in the ring and helps Wes get out. Referee. And D'Lo hides. This is a cage match. There are no disqualifications. Why the fuck are you hiding while the referee turns round? My God. That's just incompetence 102. Why are you hiding when the match is no disqualification? Please. I'd like to know why. I'd like to know who wrote. This has got to have either been written or said. And I'd like to know who did it. Whoever wrote or said, hey, Vilo, after you've helped Wes get out, you know, after you've helped your buddy get out of the cage, we want you to hide at the side of the ring until the referees turn around, seen it and rung the bell. Despite the fact it's a no disqualification match. That's how we'll go with it. Okay. Well done. Hello again, Cat. Right, so we have our lethal lockdown match. Now, I'm a little unclear on 2010, so I'm not sure if I'm sure there was a lethal lockdown match, but it's not fresh in my mind. But the last two, I'm pretty sure the lethal lockdown, the cage roof comes down. Pretty sure there's a roof on this cage for lethal lockdown. There wasn't this year. Oh well, it's a slight disappointment, but I'm not too fussed about it. Right, we had Anderson and Magnus start the match. Now this is the point where Taz got a little irritating. Because there's being a heel commentator, there's being a biased heel commentator, and then there's being a dick. And this is the start of the night. This is the starting point of the night where Taz went from heel commentator to bias. To being a biased heel commentator. So Team TNA had Magnus starting out. Ace and Eight had Anderson. I'm not doing it this week. I'm not doing it. And they went for about 3 minutes until, well, for those that watched Impact to know, and for those that don't know the science of lethal lockdown, two guys start out from opposing teams. Every couple of minutes, a new guy comes in. And what happens is they normally have a series of matches, like best 2 out of 3, to decide who gets. Well, the guys come in one at a time. So, say like you've got Team TNA, Team Ace and Eights. On this point, Ace and Eights had the man advantage, means one of their guys is the next in. And then the Team TNA guy gets in, then Ace and Eights TNA, Ace and Eights TNA, until all 10 are in the cage. Then the toys can come out. We like toys. We especially like toys when there's blood. We don't mind toys when there's no blood, but we love toys when there's blood. You got cage matches with no blood. Sort it, TNA. Sort it. Especially lethal lockdown where there's weapons. Where there's toys. So they went for a few minutes and they had Mike Knox, who is now being known as Knox. Yeah, I'll work with it. He'll be out of contract by the time this angle's ended. Well, after this angle's ended. Now I'm going to bring up an interesting question. Where's Gunnar and Crimson? They would be perfect for this angle. I thought Gunnar was pretty impressive as like a henchman in Immortal. Gunnar would be a lot better suited than Nox. I'm just saying. The second game for Team TNA was Samoa Joe. And this was pretty even. I was expecting with Ace and Knights to have the man advantage, that they would have had Magnus beaten down to the point where it was 12-1 against Joe. It wasn't. Pretty even, and actually Team TNA at this point had the advantage in the match. Then Garrett Bischoff comes out. Surely you could have brought out one of the masked guys. Or if you can have Garrett, bring him in last. Ace and X had a one-man advantage. It was 3 versus 2. And Joe and Magnus were making it let's just call it was still 2-on-2. Because Garrett, bless his heart, bless Garrett's heart, he tried. And then he thought he had them down. Then he got cocky. Then he started taunting. And Magnus and Joe just stood right behind him. There's a point later in the match near the end, and I'm going to ignore it until after I've gone through everything out of the match, because it's quite a long segment. So then we have Eric Young come out for Team TNA, so it's now 3 versus 3. Or in a lot of people's opinion, it's 3 versus 2. I've now got some respect for Garrett, but I still don't see him as a threat. 4th man out was Devon for Team Ace and Eights, and that's when they started to take control. Until the arrival of the Cowboy James Storm. At which point everything evened up again. Maybe even swinging a slight advantage to Team TNA. Then Luke Gallows, or as he is now known, Doc, or Director of Chaos, which is what it stands for. That's why it's called Doc. Could you imagine the commentary of every match when the commentators are saying, the Director of Chaos, the Director of Chaos, the Director of Chaos, with 0 fucking now. In fact, I'm pretty sure, given the length of his matches, they'd say it twice and the match would be over. Just saying. And the last man out, the man holding 2 garbage cans of toys, including steel chairs, kendo sticks, trash can lids, trash cans. You could have used those trash cans at the end of the show. You should have just kept them out. You should have just emptied them and passed them outside pass them back out. Because boy, could you have done with them after the show. Sting takes out 5 members of Ace and Eights with a baseball bat. Sting, the 50-year-old guy, takes out 5 young guys. Well, with the exception of Devon. And maybe Doc. And Knox. Okay, definitely the exception of Devon. Takes out 4 young guys and Devon. with a baseball bat. Team TNA starts taking control of the weapons, including a really funny weapon shot where there Devon sat down in the corner and James Storm pretty much played golf with a kendo stick and Devon's balls. That was a funny moment. And then, as you can guess, Ace and Nate's gaining a little bit of control, and Team TNA win. After Sting hits Nux with the Scorpion Death Drop, and Eric Young jumps off the top of the cage with an elbow drop. After Sting told him to get up there. Because Eric only went to the top rope. Sting said, no, no, no. Higher. Go higher, brother. Jump off the fucking cage. That's not spot of the night. There's a type of spot of the night. The first candidate is Garrett Bischoff. Garrett tried to do a runner. Garrett tried to climb out of the cage. Garrett got caught. Garrett was hanging upside down. You had Magnus and James Storm looking to double superplex Garrett off of the top of the cage. Well, off of the top rope. From a standing position. With Garrett leaning back into the ring. Well, leaning back into the cage. His feet running out. The guy's feet running out. This is now why I have a little respect for Garrett. Because Garrett took this bomb. And you had two Aces and Eights guys get underneath Storm and Magnus. But that wasn't enough, oh no. Samoa Joe, who abandoned his burger van and his jeans store in the Impact Zone. Yeah, Samoa Joe's grab and go and Samoa Joe's jeans were closed for the night. Because Joe went and got the Aces and Eights guys and he pushed and he pushed and he put. Then you got this massive fucking suplex segment where the Aces and Eights guys back suplex Storm Magnus into superplexing Garrett Bischoff pretty much 15 feet. Garrett took the bomb. I am now impressed and I now have respect for Garrett. Garrett's taken a big bump. Garrett has willingly taken a big bump. And that's all I have to say on that match. I have some respect for the younger Bischoff now. I am shocked. Anyone that knows my views on Garrett Bischoff is shocked. And then on to the match which contains the second contender for Spot of the Night. Where we have Jeff Hardy defending the World Heavyweight Championship. TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Not the old WCW title belt. With TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Not the one that we started this review on. TNA one. Against Bully Ray. Before I get into the match, I'm going to say about damn time that this happened in a company that Bully Ray has been a part of. About damn time. So on to the match. Okay. Well, definitely better than the Elimination Chamber main event for match quality. We even had a run-in from Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff mid-match. Yeah, Garrett took that superplex and he came back into the cage. I think at that point in the night I'd have been fucking off home. Saying, no, I'm not getting back in that cage. Not after last time. But credit to Garrett, he came back out. So did Wes. Although Wes won his match and only took a German suplex off the top rope. The highlight of this match, though, was Jeff Hardy tried to escape the cage. Bully caught him. Bully sit-down powerbombed him off the top rope. And in from a standing position on the top rope. And I honestly thought for a second, he's killed him. Bully Ray's killed Jeff Hardy. Oh shit. But for a second I thought that. I thought, nah, Jeff's fine. Jeff's fine. Nah, I'm not going to go with him. We're going jokes here. After Victory Road 2011 and the path that Jeff Hardy has taken over the last 2 years. It's another guy who I now have a lot of respect for. But after the incident at Victory Road 2011 where he pretty much came out very intoxicated on whatever shit he'd been doing pre-show. And having a 90-second main event which pissed a lot of people off. I have respect for Jeff Hardy for cleaning himself up and staying clean. And decide, no, I hope DDP can help Scott Hall keep himself clean. Anyway, back onto the match. The finish of this match, I was half right about who was in charge of Ace and Eights. God, look, is it? Thank God we don't have to associate the name Hogan with Aces and Eights. Unless they do a Stephanie McMahon 1999 heel turn. It could happen, people. It could happen. And then it could even happen that Hulk turns heel. Like Vince did. And we could have the Bully Ray Hogan faction. Like we had the McMahon Helmsley faction. But that McMahon Helmsley faction was a good faction. This, with the exception of Bully Ray, would be horse shit. So, the finish of the match was basically Ace and Eights coming down for a second time in the match. Yeah, they only sent Wes and Garrett the first time. Yeah, that were opponents part of the match. Really, sending Wes and Garrett. Especially if you're going to have a big, like, siege moment in the end. Where you get Bully and Jeff standing in the middle of the ring holding chains. Devon stood on one of the turnbuckles, sliding a hammer out of his jeans, tossing it to Bully. You get the like 10-15 seconds of what's Bully gonna do? Is Bully going to attack Ace and Eights with the hammer? Nah, he just whacks Jeff Hardy in the back of the neck. Well, right between shoulder blades. I know they can't do headshots with a sledgehammer. They can't do headshots with anything nowadays. They definitely can't do it with a fucking hammer. Yeah, whack. Jeff turns up on impact. No. I mean, Triple H with a sledgehammer you can buy. You can buy a guy getting hit in the head with Triple H's sledgehammer because Triple H puts his hand over the end of the sledgehammer. Getting whacked over the back of the head with a normal hammer, like bam, can't buy that. Smacks him over the fucking head with an hammer. He's definitely not going to turn up on TV 4 days fucking later. It's a fucking COVID job. So Bully hits Jeff in the back with a hammer. Gets the win. Gets the TNA title. Cuts the promo. How he used Hulk and screwed Brooke. Really? Oh, I should highlight a couple of interesting things at the start of the show that I saw. Right at the start of lockdown as we were going through the crowd. There was a guy wearing, there was a very brave guy. For those in the UK, you can see this Wednesday night on Challenge. And I'm reviewing this, I'm in the UK by the way. I'm reviewing this. There's a guy behind the commentators, a very brave guy. Very, well, by my standpoint, a very brave guy. Standing right behind the commentators. You know, some people have got these I'm a Paul Heyman guy t-shirts, or we're Heyman guys. This guy had, and I quote, he was wearing a t-shirt that said, I am a Vince Russo guy. You have fucking balls. You have balls, my friend. To wear that t-shirt, especially at a TNA event, you have balls. And I hope you watch this. Or if anyone knows that guy, make him watch this. Because he had balls. And that compared to the next one I'm going to say, I want Vince Russo back in TNA. So if anyone knows Vince Russo forward than this, Vince, at least when you were booking in TNA, yes it was shit, but it was entertaining. It made us think, what the fuck is going to happen next? What the fuck is going on? Everyone else called Bully Ray being the leader of Ace and Eight a few months ago. Actually, I did. I said it's Bully and Brock, while giving the, I hope it's not Jeff Jarrett. Although I do hope it is Jeff Jarrett. It's out of material. See, Jeff Jarrett's a double-edged sword. I don't want Jeff Jarrett on TV ever again because I don't like Jeff Jarrett. But then again, he, like Christopher Daniels and Vince Russo, gives me so much material. Yes. And this horse-faced bitch of a wife too. Yeah, that's another thing. We haven't seen Madison Rain in a while. Yeah, TNA's missing its goat. And then what was my other point going to be? Oh, before the guy with the I'm a Vince Russo guy t-shirt. And this actually made me, well, it nearly made me fall off from where I was sitting. There was a guy in the crowd, it's right at the start of the show, so panning through, the guy holding a yellow sign which said Hogan King of Sex Tapes. That is absolute. That is the absolute truth. There was a sign in the crowd saying Hogan, the King of Sex Tapes. How that did not get confiscated before the camera started rolling. Or how nobody knew that that was in the crowd when they were panning through. Maybe you could have avoided that. Anyway, that is pretty much all I have to say on Elimination Chamber / Lockdown. It started boring, this one with Elimination Chamber. It started boring and normal. Then when we hit the early moments of lockdown, shit got insane. It kind of calmed down. I like that. Although I do hope that April 8th, when I review WrestleMania 29 from New York and New Jersey, whichever it's at, I hope I have a lot of material from that show, or from the weeks leading up. I would also like to say that I would also like to give a special mention to a legend that has recently passed away. We will miss you. You gave us many years of great entertainment, whether you were managing Undertaker or Kane, and we hope that you are now at peace. Anyway, that's all for this review, and I guess I'll see you next month. But whichever, if you're a fan of either, well, if you're a fan of both main companies that are on TV, I hope you find something to enjoy from the product. Boy, there's times that I actually do try to find something to enjoy from it, from the current product. If you're a fan of just one company and you haven't tried the other one yet, just try it, because wrestling would be a lot stronger today if, look, the highest rating a wrestling show is going to get these days is the Raw rating of around 3. Now, I'm going to say this, I'm going to address the TNA ratings of, it's usually a 1.1. That I'm going to call is, well, since it hovers around there, that is a cult audience for wrestling. So basically, the majority of Raw's ratings is made up of the casual fan. Let's say we have a casual fan that tries to be more like a pure wrestling fan, whereas they tune in to every show every week. I mean, thanks to WWE doing NXT and main event and Saturday morning slam, you pretty much get a wrestling show 6 days a week. Okay, I get that Saturday morning slam is definitely The case since they don't even do a damn headlock or a chokehold. Get that sorted, lads, please. Or just take the show off the air. But then we have, and again, Superstars is on. I think Superstars is now just an internet only show. But when that was on the air and that was on TV, it pulled the same rating as an Impact. I don't think many casual fans would watch Superstars, given most of the casual fans only watch the shows to see the guys that they like a John Cena or a Sheamus, or I don't know, maybe you got a casual fan that likes bad guys, like it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of one. Okay, like a Brock Lesnar. I'm not going to say CM Punk because Paul Heyman's getting most of the heat for CM Punk. And I hope to God tonight on Raw they do not even mention Paul Bearer. I hope they don't even touch that. Okay, that is no. Touching the Jerry Lawler heart attack was low. This would be absolutely fucking disgusting if you touch this. Okay, you have no reason to mention Paul Bearer. Anyway, if you are a casual wrestling fan and you just try to ignore, because guaranteed you'll get it everywhere. You'll get the guys that just like WWE and pretty much slag off TNA, and then you get, well, the reverse as well. I'm one of the guys that's in between. I'll hold my hands up and say I am a wrestling fan. I don't give a shit which of the main shows is better. Okay, I watch it. I hate what I watch. In 2013, I hate what I watch. I couldn't say the same 15 years ago when I started watching it, even though I started with WCW when it was starting its downfall, or my early WWE days of late 99 and early 2000, when we had Sunday Night Heat on Channel 4 mid-afternoon. Those were good days. We had Nitros on a Monday night on Channel 5, and we had Nitros on Friday night on Channel 5. Sunday Night Heat on a Sunday at mid-afternoon. Those were the good old days. Now, at least we get TNA on a free channel here. Which actually does tell you something. If TNA is beating WWE for ratings over here, tells you people won't pay to watch Vince. Anyway, I will leave it at that for this month, and I will see you April 8th. Certainly April 8th. I guarantee you the review will be done and uploaded on a plate after WrestleMania. I will not be hanging around to see what the fallout is. I won't be hanging around to see anything that happens on Raw. You're just going to get the straight up review of what's happened at WrestleMania. This has been the Big K Productions, bringing you a brilliant wrestling review once again, and I'll see you next month. Hi Catalina.